Hola, gente linda. Hello, beautiful people. Hola is hello in Spanish, and gente linda means beautiful people in Spanish. I'm Nelly C. My goal for my YouTube channel is to study the topics for the licensed clinical social worker exam together and share this material with someone who may need it. My email address is learningtogether to become becomealcsw@gmail.com. Just in case you would like to contact me, and here is also my Facebook page, facebook.com Learning Together for LCSW. First, I want to share a quote to continue to be inspired and motivated to carry on with this journey. And it's actually the same quote that I had in the last video. I noticed that it didn't show up this presentation in the last video. So here it is. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. By Anne Lamott. And so we are in the topic number 3, which is the theory of sexual development through the lifespan. And we already read this one, the theory of sexual development through the lifespan, and it was pretty good because it went through by each theory. Now I would like to read about the same topic, and I was reviewing this chapter, and it was very interesting. So I'd like to check it with you. I will post the links of this website below of the video, and I will also post my email and Facebook page. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to get more updates on topics related to the LCSW exam. Let's not give up. We can do it slowly but surely. Adios, mi gente linda, and many blessings. So we'll review here right now this topic. And here it is. Chapter 12, Sexual Development Through the Lifespan. And here are the authors, Erica Gorlin, PhD, and Emerson Wolf, MS. We're gonna skip the outcomes, and we're gonna see this. While sex and sexuality are often linked to late adolescence, early adulthood, this week's topic explores sexuality through the entire lifespan, for neonatal observation to the experience of octogenarian elements of sexuality are presented through the most of life. Although the context is truly different based on age and experience, these are still considerable domains to explore in terms of sensate experiences, genital awareness, maturation, and individual and or partnered sexual interaction. Using a biosocial approach, including aspects of psychodynamic theory, we will explore elements of sex and sexuality that may occur throughout one's lifetime. Sexual education is often taught in the middle school or high school, unless an abstinence-only program is in place, but could there be benefit to openly talking about sex and being a lifelong learner when it comes to relationship and sexual satisfaction? Let's actually see this video together. Up, sorry. Oh my God. I want to share the sound. Share sound. And let's see. It's 10 minutes.
As people approach the end of their lives, they're often asked, what are your fondest memories, your greatest sorrows? Looking back, what would you say really matters in life? Few of these people mention work or school, money or achievements, but in the face of death, the overwhelming majority say relationships with loved ones are what matter most. Of course, with family and with friends, but especially significant others. This is what inspired me to become a relationship and sexuality educator. Across the world, no matter who you are or where you're from, the one thing we all have in common is a deep-rooted desire to love and to be loved. In fact, study after study shows that the quality of our intimate relationships has a profound impact, not only on our psychological health, but on our physical health as well. So, if we can all agree that love is what really matters, and we have the research to back it up, I'm curious, how many of you received any sort of formal education, training, or mentorship in romantic relationships and sex? Now, I'm not talking about the heart-to-hearts you had with your grandmother, or the 2-week sex ed unit you had in health class. I'm talking specific, meaningful, ongoing education. Many of you can probably name the 16th president. Perhaps you recall that pi equals approximately 3.14. And perhaps you can even describe the stages of photosynthesis. But how many of you know what your partner's love language is? How many of you know that the way your parents treated you as an infant has shaped the way that you give and receive love as an adult? Raise your hand if you're aware that sex is not about sex. Probably not many, but wouldn't you like to know? Most of us learn about relationships through happenstance, right? We repeat patterns of our parents, we copy our friends, we believe the messages that society and religion tell us. And when it comes to learning about sex, we're even more clueless and conflicted. The birds and the bees talk that you may or may not have gotten as a child likely didn't answer the burning questions that keep you up at night. Luckily, there's Google. Let me ask you, would you hand a teenager the keys to your BMW if they'd never taken driver's ed? Would you hire a head chef at your brand new restaurant with no culinary training? Would you go under the knife with a surgeon who didn't have a medical degree? Why is it that we formally prepare our youth for practically everything they'll do in their life, except for the one thing that matters most? And then we wonder why divorce rates are so high. What if we as a society rearranged our priorities and made relationship and sex education mandatory, comprehensive, and lifelong? In the same way that we're required to take algebra and chemistry, I think that we deserve to learn the intricacies of how our minds and our hearts and our bodies work. Currently, less than half of US states mandate any sort of sex ed, and only a fraction of them incorporate relationship skills. I think, starting in preschool, we need age-appropriate curriculum that teaches kids self-awareness and interpersonal skills to nurture healthy friendships. And as they move through elementary and middle school, we can start introducing romance and sexuality, because remember, we have to reach them before they start experimenting. And by the time they hit high school, we need full-blown curriculum, freshman through senior year, so that by the time they graduate, they actually know what to look for in a partner and how to be a good one themselves. I've been teaching college courses on these topics for many years, and every semester, my students walk away saying, "I wish I knew this stuff sooner." In addition to being mandatory, relationship and sex education has to be comprehensive. Rather than just telling kids what they need to know, we need to start asking them what they want to know. Of course, we'll cover the basics like anatomy and puberty, pregnancy and STIs, but what about the good stuff? You know, the relationship stuff, like attraction, flirtation, good communication skills, respect, trust, emotional intelligence, self-worth, jealousy, forgiveness. And as for sex, we can start with hugs and hand-holding, crushes and first kisses. And as they mature, fantasies, pornography, masturbation. We need to talk about pleasure and consent. And for the love of God, hygiene. In addition to being mandatory and comprehensive, relationship and sex education needs to be lifelong. Our relationships continue to evolve throughout life. And sometimes some of the most challenging circumstances don't come until after marriage, after babies, after jobs and illness and affairs. We need a safe place that we can go as adults to learn more, ask questions, bounce ideas off one another. I envision a variety of fun, informative workshops, retreats, brunch clubs, happy hours, all about love and sex, and led by relationship experts. They'd be affordable and accessible and offered throughout the country so couples could go as often as they like. But without the stigma of therapy, without the religious undertones of faith-based services, and without the political agendas of government programs. I really think young adults could benefit from learning about things like the power of gratitude, or how to fight fair, or what to do when you're attracted to someone besides your spouse. For middle adults, we could talk about co-parenting dynamics, work-life balance, or adjusting to empty nesting. For older adults, we could discuss retirement, or how to start over after a divorce or widowhood. And in late adulthood, maybe we could revisit those conversations about STIs. I mean, we've all heard about the fun they're having in those nursing homes. By the time couples seek therapy, much of the damage has been done. Let's not wait until things go wrong. Let's educate ourselves and encourage one another to build happy, healthy relationships from the start and then nurture them throughout life. Because at the end of the day, the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. Thank you.
Nice video. I hope you like it. Okay, so theoretical approaches using both a historical lens as well as more contemporary approach. We want to first examine influential theories applied to sexuality through the lifespan. If you have taken any of the psychology courses, you may find the following section a bit of a review since we are going to primarily discuss and apply Freud's psychosexual stages of development as well Erik Erikson's psychosocial stages of development. As you read, consider how do their ideas still show up in modern understanding of sexual development, including language, cultural norms, and values. Can you see any aspect of this theory as applied to your own experience? Freud's psychosexual stages of development. Freud believed that personality develops during early childhood. Childhood experiences shape our personality as well as our behavior as adults. He asserted that we develop via series of stages during childhood. Each of us must pass through these childhood stages. If we do not have the proper nurturing and parenting during a stage, we will be stuck or fixated in the stage even as adults. In each psychosexual stage of development, the child's pleasure-seeking urges coming from the id are focused on different areas of the body called an erogenous zone. The stages are oral, anal, phallic, and latency and genital. Freud's psychosexual development theory is quite controversial. To understand the origin of the theory, it is helpful to be familiar with the political and social cultural influence of Freud's days in Vienna and turn on the 20th century. During this era, a climate of sexual repression combined with limited understanding of education surrounding human sexuality heavily influenced Freud's perspective. Given that sex was a taboo topic, Freud assumed that negative emotional stages neurosis stem from suppressor of unconscious sexual and aggressive urges. For Freud, his own recollection and interpretation of patients' experience and dreams were sufficient proof of psychosexual stages were universal events in early childhood. And here are the stages: oral from 0 to 1, mouth, weaning of the breath of adult, smoking, and overeating for adult fixation. Example, here is the major conflict: weaning of breath of battle, anal 1 to 3, anus, erogenous zone. Toilet training is a major conflict. Adult fixation, example, leanness and messiness. Phallic 3 to 6, genitals. And here is the Oedipus and Electra complex. Adult fixation, vanity, overambition. Latency 6 to 12. Erogenous zone, none. Major conflict, none. And adult fixation, none. Genitals 12, genitals, no major conflict, neither adult fixation. Oral stage. In the oral stage, birth to 1 year, pleasure is focused on the mouth, eating, and pleasure derived from sucking, nipple pacifiers, and thumbs have play a large part in babies' first years of life. At around 1 year of age, babies are weaning from bottle of the breast, and this process can create conflict if not handled properly by caregivers. According to Freud, an adult who smokes drinks, overeats, or bites her nail is fixated in the oral stage of her psychosexual development. She may have been weaning too early or too late, resulting in this fixation tendency, all which seek to ease anxiety. Anal stage. After passing through the oral stage, children enter to the Freud term that is the anal stage 1 to 3 years. In this stage, children experience pleasure in their bowel, bladder movements, so it makes sense that the conflict in this stage is over toilet training. Freud suggested that success and the anal depend on how parents handle toilet training. Parents who offer praise and reward encourage positive results can help children feel competent. Parents who are harsh in toilet training can cause child to become fixated in the anal stage, leading to develop of anal retention personality. The anal retentive personality is stingy and stubborn, has compulsive need for order and neatness, and may consider a perfectionist. If parents are too lenient in toilet training, the child may also become fixated in display an anal expulsive personality. The anal expulsive personality is messy, careless, disorganized, prone to emotional outbursts. Phallic stage. Freud's third stage of psychosexual development is the phallic stage, 3 to 6 years, corresponding to the age when children become aware of their bodies and recognize the difference between the boys and girls. The erogenous zone in this stage is the genitals. Conflict arises when the child feels a desire for the opposite sex parent, and jealousy and hatred toward the same parent. For boys, this is called the Oedipus complex, involving a boy's desire for his mother and his urge to replace his father, who is seen as a rival for the mother's attention. At the same time, the boy is afraid his father will punish him for his feelings, so he experiences castrated tension anxiety. The Oedipus complex is successfully resolved when the boy begins to identify with his father as an indirect way to have the mother. Failure to resolve the Oedipus complex may result in fixation and develop a personality that might describe as a vain or overly ambitious. Girls experience a comparable conflict in the phallic stage, the Electra complex. The Electra complex, while often attributed to Freud, was actually proposed by Freud's protege Carl Jung, and Karenji in 1963. A girl desires the attention of her father and wishes to take her mother's place. Jung also said that girls are angry with the mother for not providing them with a penis, hence the term penis envy. While Freud initially embraced the Electra complex as a parallel to Oedipus complex, he later rejected, yet it remains as a cornerstone of Freudian theory, thanks in part to the academics in the field of Freud 1931-68, Scott 2005. Perhaps one of the most important taking away from this aspect of Freud's theory is the unfortunate application of sexualizing children's genital curiosity and sensate process. Children are inherently curious about their bodies until the stage of development, which is something that Freud observed. However, it's critical to know that curiosity, even some aspect of individual or social physical experience, isn't inherently sexual, like what mature folks experience. Part of the reason this is still covered in human sexuality is to address the cultural legacy of aspect of over-sexualizing children, as well as victim blaming, creating culpability for sexual offenses where none exist. Latency period. Following the phallic stage of psychosexual development is a period known as the latency period, 6 years to puberty. This period is not considered a stage because sexual feelings are dormant. As children focus on other pursuits such as school, friendship, hobbies, and sport. Children generally engage in activity with peers of the same sex, which serves to consolidate the child's gender role identity. Genital stage. The final stage is the genital stage from puberty on. In this stage, there is a sexual reawakening as the incestuous urges resurface. The young person redirects these urges to other, more socially acceptable partners who often resemble the other sex parent. People in this stage have mature sexual interests, which for Freud meant a strong desire for the opposite sex. Individuals who successfully complete the previous stage, reaching the genital stage with no fixation, are said to be well balanced and healthy adults. While most Freud's ideas have not found support in modern research, we cannot discount the contribution that Freud has made to the field of psychology. It was Freud who pointed out a large part of our mental life is influenced by experience of early childhood and takes place outside of our conscious awareness. His theories paved the way for others. Most importantly, the notion that early attachment matters in terms of our future personal relationship, including romantic, sexual argument, and important modern research application. Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory development. Erikson in 1902-1994, another stage theorists took Freud's theory and modified it as psychosocial theory. Erikson's psychosocial development theory emphasized the social nature of our development rather than his sexual nature. While Freud believed that personality is shaped only in childhood, Erikson proposed that personality development takes place all through the lifespan. Erikson suggested that how we interact with others is what affects our sense of self, or what he called the ego identity. In each stage, Erikson's theory, there is a psychosocial task that we must master in order to feel sense of competence. Erikson proposed that we are motivated by a need to achieve competence in certain areas of our life. According to psychosocial theory, we experience 8 stages of development over lifespan, from infants through late adulthood. At each stage, there is a conflict or task we need to resolve. Successful completion of each developmental task results in a sense of competences and healthy personality. Failure to master this task leads to feeling of inadequacy. Although Erickson's theory is still subject to controversy, it does have some modern application to lifespan development, especially one when especially when one considers that, unlike Freud, Erickson sought to describe the entirety of a person's life. Each of his psychosocial stages will be applied as we discussed. Each phase of development below the chart below highlights Erickson's original ideas around age and timing of development tasks with advances in our understanding of brain maturation as well as our increased lifespan. These ages may be adjusted in our discussion. And here are the stage, age, development tasks, and description. Stage 1 from 0 to 1 age, trust and versus mistrust, description, trust or mistrust, the basic needs such as nourishment and affection will be met. Stage 2, 1 to 3 years, autonomy versus shame and doubt, develop a sense of independence in many tasks. Stage 3, age 3 to 6 years, initiative versus guilt. Take initiative and some activities may develop guilt when unsuccessful or boundary overstep. Stage 4, 7 to 11, industry versus inferiority, develop self-confidence and ability when competence or sense of inferiority when not. Stage 5, 12 to 18, identity versus confusion, experiment with the development identity and roles. Stage 6, 19 to 29, intimacy versus isolation, establish intimacy and relationship with others. 30 to 64, generativity versus externation, contribute to society and be part of family. Age 8, 65, older, integrity versus despair, access and make sense of life and meaning contribution. And here is a video of that. We won't see it because we already have seen the other one. Sexual development in early childhood. Historical children have been thought as innocent or incapable of sexual arousal. Areas 1962, yet physical dimension sexual arousal is present from birth. However, to associate elements of seduction, power, love, or lust are part of the adult meanings of sexuality would be inappropriate. Sexuality begins in childhood, has response to physical states and sensations, and cannot be interpreted as similar to that of adult in any way. Carol 2000. Infants, boys and girls capable of erection and vaginal lubrication even before birth. Martinson, 1981. Arousal can signal overall physical contentment and stimulation that accompany feeding or warmth. Infants begin to explore their body and touch their genitals as soon as they have sufficient motor skill. This stimulation is comfort to or relieve tension rather than reach organs. According to Erickson, trust is the basic of our development during infancy, birth to 12 months. Therefore, the primary task of this stage is trust versus mistrust. Infants are dependent upon their caregivers, so caregivers who are responsive and sensitive to their infant needs help their baby to develop a sense of trust, and their baby will see the world has a safe, predictable place, and responsive caregivers who do not meet their baby's needs can engender feelings of anxiety, fear, and mistrust. Their baby may see the world as unpredictable. Early childhood. Cell stimulation is common in early childhood for both boy and girl. Curiosity about the body, about other bodies, is natural part of early childhood. As the children grow, they are more likely to show their genitals to children and peers and to take off their clothes and touch each other. And here are the authors. As a toddlers, age 1 to 3, begin to explore their world. They learn that they can control their actions and act on the environment to get results. They begin to show clear preference for certain elements of the environment, such as food, toys, and clothing. A toddler's main task is to resolve the issue of autonomy versus shame and doubt by working to establish independence. This is the me do it stage. For example, we might observe budding sense of autonomy in a 2-year-old child who wants to choose her clothes and dress herself. Although her outfit may not be appropriate for the situation, her input in such a basic decision has an effect on her sense of independence. If denied the opportunity to act in her environment, she may begin to doubt her ability, which could lead to low self-esteem and feel of shame. When children reach the preschool stage, age 3 to 6 years, they are capable of initiating activities, asserting control over their world through social interactions and play. According to Erickson, preschool children must resolve the task of initiative versus guilt by learning to plan and achieve goals while interacting with others. Preschool children can master these tasks. Those who do will develop self-confidence and feel a sense of purpose. Those who aren't successful at this stage with an initiative misfiring or stifling may develop feelings of guilt. During the preschool years, children may become increasingly aware of their bodies, which can lead to individual and peer-to-peer sexual play. Indeed, physical exploration games are very common between young children, with 50 to 85% of kids engaging in sort of game play that involve fantasy, sexual play, exposure, or stimulation of genitals. How adults' caregiver respond to this play can be critically important to later mature sexual experiences. Middle childhood sexual development. Although Freud determined that middle childhood was simply a time of latency, that it is time when children's sexual interests are dormant, modern understanding of sexuality tells us a different story. Even Erickson noticed that this stage development is significant, and the objective is to move through inducing versus inferiority. In other words, kids are intent on gaining sense of self and ability or competence in their task and relationship. It's not Erickson arguing they may experience inferiority with regards to sexual development. Children this age may not experience the wide-eyed curiosity of their earlier years, but they also may have entered puberty yet. Interestingly, in one survey, men and women, regardless of sexual orientation, report that the average age of their first sexual attention was around 10 years old, which reflects that there are more factors impact school-age children than early theory suggests. In many Western societies, school-age children are often given their first set of education information about their upcoming changes, body, puberty, and reproduction. For trans youth, this time can be challenging based on concern about physical changes at the onset of puberty. Early messages about body, sex, sexuality can have important effects on later attitude and behavior. There is ongoing evidence that comprehensive sex education before young people become sexually active results in delay in the onset of sexual activity and increase in sexual well-being. Additionally, support for trans youth in terms of available health options is imperative for their ongoing physical and mental health outcomes. Sexual development in adolescents. Adolescent sexual development, typically the growth spurt is followed by development of sexual maturity. Sexual changes are divided in two categories: primary sexual characteristics and secondary sexual characteristics. Primary sexual characteristics are changes in reproductive or organs. For males, this includes growth of the testes, penis or scrotum, and spermage, or first ejaculation of semen. This occurs around 9 to 14 years old. For female, primary characteristics include growth of the uterus and menarche of the first menstrual period. The female gametes, which are stored in the ovaries, are present at the birth but are immature. Each ovary contains about 400 gametes, but only 400,000 gametes, but only 500 will become mature eggs. Beginning at puberty, one ovum ripens and is released about every 28 days during the menstrual cycle. Stress and higher percentage of body fat can bring menstruation at younger age. According to Briley and Cap at 2020, puberty begins on average for girls around 8 to 13 years old, with African American girls starting puberty early at around 6 years old. Stress elevated levels of cortisol are associated with early puberty, especially in girls. Busky, 2015. Racial microaggression and minority stress take a toll on the body, influence mental and physical health, and the intersection of race and gender. Lewis, 2017. In addition to most research being conducted on white girls, and when they reach poverty, other health outcomes that disproportionality impact Black girls have not been researched enough. While poverty for girls of all races and ethnicities has been decreasing over the past several years, Black girls had the lowest median age of menarche and the highest rate of childhood obesity. Latina youth also start puberty early due to similar impact of stress and higher body mass indexes at the younger age. Something to keep in mind: research based on race and ethnic difference in puberty timing are still very limited. It is important to question the notion of what constitutes normative and BMI, especially when studies are conducted on mostly white population. Additionally, while the time of poverty has significant social implications when the impact of self-esteem. These interactions also context-dependent based on many intersecting and complex factors. Every single person may have different experiences related to poverty due to the way peers treat them and the messages they receive from the media, teachers, family, religious institutions, and more about this process. Precautions and delayed poverty. If a girl begins poverty before age 8 and boy before age 9, they would be considered to have precocious or early poverty. National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, 2016. Some children may experience psychological and social problems related to feeling different than their peers. Boys are less likely to experience negative consequences such as bullying. Each develop early individual who develop early may be perceived by others as more mature and older than they are developmentally. Thus, girls may face greater levels of sexualization early, and boys may experience reduced level of bullying due to their size, increased body and mass. Delayed puberty is when girls experience a lack of breast growth by age 13 or the lack of period menarche by age 16. For boys, this is when testicular enlargement has not occurred by age 14. Girls and boys may experience bullying from peers due to their smaller and more childlike appearance. Boys in particular may face heightened levels of bullying and negative self-esteem consequences. Context is important. According to the literature review conducted by Sato Carter, given ethnic, racial variation in standards of physical attractiveness and being a member of racial group can influence body image norms. African American girls tend to describe their beauty ideal in terms of personality, characteristics such as style, attitude, pride, and confidence, whereas white girls tend to describe their beauty ideal in terms of fixed physical attributes such as tall, thin, high cheekbones. Research has speculated that adolescent girls who adopt body ideal in terms of personality characteristics are less vulnerable to distress generated by the puberty. Sito and Carter found in the research that Black girls who view their racial identity as more central to their sense of self will experience more distress if they enter puberty later, especially if they attend a school that is predominantly white. Late developing black girls also may further bullying by peers, so early puberty could act as a protection against racialized microaggressions since early maturing girls are perceived as more mature and advanced by peers within the school context. Jean, 2009, explored family dynamics and difference in acculturation between younger and older generation of Mexican Americans. The researcher found that mothers who immigrate to the United States in adulthood view their body size more favorably compared to their daughters who grew up attended school in the United States. Fathers were also generally very supportive of their daughters' weight and size. Based on interviews with the girl compared to their parent, acculturation caused internalized beauty ideal that favored thin and high more than other mothers and fathers. The length of time in the United States was associated with peer influence shaping a standard of beauty more than family. Therefore, generational difference acculturation can also influence body image and self-esteem. The girls who resisted acculturation actually showed more body satisfaction as their body began to change due to poverty when compared to the girls who internalized more American beauty standards. Hormones, hormone blockers for transgender individuals. An area of debate is whether transgender youth should be able to take hormone blockers prior to during puberty in conjunction with hormone therapy in order to prevent unwanted changes during puberty to bring about puberty more closely matches that to their gender identity. Because our society heavily correlates physical feature with the gender. For example, testosterone acts on the vocal cords to deepen the voice and body mass begin to redistribution, which can be distressing to some transgender girls. Hormone blockers would prevent this process from occurring. However, some people argue that children cannot make such a serious decision for themselves, and legally parents or guardians are the ones who consent to medical care on their youth's behalf. This commonly results in persons needed to wait until they can consent to medical care for themselves before they can receive hormone therapy. At this point, poverty has already made lasting changes to the body and will take great level of medical intervention to alter. Turban 2020 and Achali 2020 found that transgender youth wanted and were provided with pubertal suppression hormone experienced significant decrease in suicidal danger and depression and anxiety, report improved overall mental health. According to Urban and the Endocrine Society guideline, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, Standard Care Board recommended transgender adults be offered puberty blockers, which are formally called gonadotropin release hormone analogs. People who are intersex and poverty. Okay, so I had to read that, how to superuse adolescent sexual activity. By about age 10 or 11, most children experience increased sexual attraction to others that affect social life, both in school and out. By end of high school, more than half of boys and girls report having experienced sexual intercourse at least once. So it's hard to be certain of the proportion because of the sensitivity and privacy of the information. The birth rate of 14 has declined by 58 since 2007 and 78 since 91. The most recent peak it appears that adolescents seem to be less sexually active than in previous years, and those who are sexually active seem to be using birth control. Romantic relationship. Adolescence is the developmental period during which romantic relationships typically first emerge. By the end of adolescence, most American teens have had at least one romantic relationship. However, culture does play a role as Asian American are less like to date than other ethnic groups. Dating serves many purposes for teens, including having fun, companionship, status, socialization, sexual experimentation, intimacy, partner selection for those in late adolescence. These are several stages in dating process, beginning with engaging in mixed-sex group activity in early adolescence. The same group peers, the same the same-sex peer groups that were common during childhood expand into mixed-sex peer groups that are more characteristic of adolescence. Straight romantic relationships often form in the concept of these mixed-sex peer groups. Interacting mixed-sex group is easier for teens as they are among a supportive group of friends, can observe others interacting and are kept safe from too early intimacy relationships. By middle adolescence, teens are engaging in brief, casual dating, group dating with established couples. Then in late adolescence, dating involves exclusively intense relationships. These relationships tend to be long-lasting and continue for a year or longer. However, they may also interfere with friendship. Also, romantic relationships during adolescence are often short-lived rather than long-term committed partnerships. Their importance should not be minimized. Adolescents spend a great deal of time focused on romantic relationships, on the or their positive and negative emotions are more tied to romantic relationships or lack thereof than to friendship and family relationships or school. According to Pew Research Center, individuals who identify as a gay, lesbian, bisexual first realize they may not be straight around age 12 knew for sure they went straight by age 17 and first told someone about age 20. LGBT individuals may face discrimination and bullying if they date openly depending on the specific culture and acceptance and found their body side, they found their school side. The prevalence of gay straight alliances and other types of supportive clubs at the school side mixed with administration and teacher support can serve as a protective force. Younger generations are also coming out much sooner and compared to older generation due to society becoming more accepting overall. Romantic relationships contribute to adolescents' identity formation, change in family and peer relationship, and emotional and behavioral adjustment. Furthermore, romantic relationships are centrally connected and to adolescents and emerging sexually. Parents, policymakers, and researchers have devoted a great deal of attention to adolescents and sexuality, in a large part because of concerns related to sexual intercourse, contraception, and preventing teen pregnancy. However, sexuality involves more than this narrow forecast. For example, adolescence is often when individuals are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender come to perceive themselves as such. Thus, romantic relationships are domains in which adolescents experiment with new behavioral identities. However, a negative dating relationship can adversely affect an adolescent development. Soler, 2014. Explore the link between relationship inauthentic- inauthenticity and mental health. Relationship inauthenticity refers to an incongruency between thought and feelings and action within relationship. Desires to gain partner approval and demands in the relationship may negatively affect an adolescence of authenticity. Soler found that relationship inauthenticity was possibly correlated with poor mental health, including depression, suicidal danger, and suicidal tendencies, especially for females. Sexual attraction and sexual identity development. In Harrison terms, the time during adolescence marked by the formation of identity, virtual or confusion. According to Carroll, 2016, by age 14, most adolescents become interested in intimate relationships, and they may begin sexual experimentation. Many adolescents feel pressure to express interest in opposite-sex relationships, even they are not ready to do so. This pressure can be specifically stressful for those adolescents who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or questioning their sexual identity. Many adolescents who are LGBT struggle with negative peers and family reaction during their exploration, and lack of parental acceptance especially can adversely affect the gay and lesbian bisexual adolescent emerging sexual identity and can result feeling of depression. In contrast, adolescents whose families support their sexual identity have better health outcomes. In terms of sexual exploration with their peers, there is a fairly typical progression behavior pattern that exists. Among America, the average of kissing is between 12 and 14. Having pairing genital fondly occurs between 15 and 16 average. The first intercourse typically occurs between 16 and 18. Of course, there are numerous factors that may vary this average. Psychosocial factors such as onset of poverty, physical ability, sense of identity, and or affected sexual engagement, social standing, safety. Research demonstrates that the earlier teens engage in penile vaginal sex, the less likely they are to use a contraception, more likely to contract a sexually transmitted infection or experience unplanned teen pregnancy. Two important notes here. First, early sexual debut doesn't always result in negative health consequences, especially when comprehensive sex education is available. And secondly, one of the challenges of translating sexual behavior among all teens is the research has often limiting scope in inquiring into penile vaginal intercourse. Certainly, this information is relevant, yet more research into LGBT sexual behavior as well as cultural societal influence and teens' attitude are important considerations. Sexual development during emerging and early adulthood. Emerging adulthood is the period between the late teens and early 20s, age 18, 25. Although some researchers have included up to age 29 in definition society that study emerging adulthood, Jeffrey Arnett, 2000, argued that emerging adult is neither adolescent nor young adult. Individuals in this age period have left behind the relative dependency of childhood adolescence, but have not yet taken the responsibility of adulthood. Emerging adulthood is a time of life when many different directions remain possible, when a little about the future is decided for certain, when the scope of independent exploration life possibilities is greater for most people than it will be at any other period of life. Course. Erickson's 1950 and 1968 six-stage intimacy versus isolation focus on establishing intimate relationship or risking social isolation. Intimate relationships are more difficult and one is still struggling with identity. Achieving a sense of identity is a lifelong process, as there are periods of identity crisis and instability. However, once identity is established, intimate relationship can be pursued. These intimate relationships include acquaintanceship, friendship, but also be more close relationships, which are the long-term romantic relationship we develop with another person, for instance, in marriage. Hooking up. United States demographic change have significantly affected the romantic relationship among emerging early adults. As previously described, the age of poverty has declined, while the times of one's first marriage and first child have been pushed to older age. This has resulted in a historical unprecedented time gap where young adults are psychologically able to reproduce but not psychologically socially ready to settle down and begin the family and child rearing. Consequently, according to Bogle, traditional forms of dating have shifted to more casual hookup that involve uncommitted sexual encounters. Table 7 to 6 reasons for stay single have not met the right person, 30% do not have financial stability, 20% not ready to settle down, 20%, 22% too young to marry, 22% based on the data from one park up. Pew Research Center figure 7.26 source 284. Even so, most recent on hookup involve college students and 70% of sexual active 12 to 21 years old report having had an uncommitted sex during the past year. Additionally, Manny, Jordan, and Logmore found that 61% of sexually active 7th, 9, and 11 graders report being involved in sexual encounter outside of dating relationship. Hooking up genders difference. When asked about their motivation for hooking up, both male and female indicate physical gratification, emotional gratification, and desire to initiate a romantic relationship as reasons. Although male and female are more similar than different in their sexual behavior, a consistent finding among the research is that males demonstrate greater permissiveness to casual sex. In one another involving 16,280 individuals across the 52 nations, male report a greater desire of sexual partner variety than female, regardless of relationship status, sexual orientation. This difference can be attributed to gender role expectation for most male and female regarding sexual promiscuity. Additionally, the risks of sexual behavior are higher for females and include unplanned pregnancy, increased sexually transmitted disease, and susceptibility to sexual violence. Also, hooking up relationships have become normalized for emerging adults. Some research indicates that the majority of both sexes would prefer more traditional romantic relationships. Additionally, Owen and Finchman surveyed 500 college students with experience with hookups, and 65% of women and 45% of men report that they hope their hookup encounter would turn into a committed relationship. Further, 51% of women and 42% of men report that they try to discuss the possibility of starting a relationship with their hookup partner. Casual sex has also been reported to the norm among gay men, but they do indicate there is a romantic companion relationship. The psychological peak, early adulthood. People in their mid 20s or mid 40s are considered to be early adulthood. But by the time we reach early adulthood, our physical maturation is complete. Although our height and weight may increase slightly, those their early 20s are probably at the peak of their physiological development, including muscle strength, reaction time, sensory ability, and cardiac function. The reproductive system, motor skill strength, and lung capacity are all operating at their best. Most professional athletes are at the top of their game during this stage, and many women have children in the early adulthood years. The aging process actually begins during early adulthood. Around the age 30, many changes begin to occur in different parts of the body. For example, the lens of the eye starts to stiff and thick, resulting in change of vision, usually affecting the ability to focus on close objects. Sensitivity to sound decreases. This happens twice so quickly for men or for women. Hair can start to thin and become gray around the age of 35. Although this may happen early for some individuals, early for others. This skin becomes drier, wrinkles start to appear by the end of the early adulthood. This includes decline in response time and the ability to recover quickly from physical exertion. The immune system also becomes less adaptive, fear of illness and reproductive capacity start to decline. Sexual development in middlehood. There is some notion of middle adulthood places the age range between 30 to 65, so many argue that middle age impacts people aged to 45 to 69. The psychosocial conflict for Erickson is generativity versus stagnation. In other words, people experience a sense of continued growth and contribution are they resigned to the life as it is. Sexuality is an important part of people's life at any age, and many middle-aged and older adults are very interested in stay sexual active. According to the National Survey of Sexual Health Behavior Center's Health Promotion 2010, 74% of male and 34% of female aged 40 to 49 engage in vaginal intercourse. During the previous year, while 58% of male and 51 female aged 50 59 did so. Despite what this percentage indicating a middle adult sexual active, age-related physical changes can affect sexual functioning. For women, decreased sexual desire and pain during vaginal intercourse because of the menopause change have been identified. A woman may also be noticed less vaginal lubrication during arousal, which can affect overall pleasure. Men may require more direct stimulation for an erection, and the erection may be delayed or less firm. Men may experience erectile dysfunction, experience some medical conditions such as diabetes or heart disease that impact sexual function. Couples can continue to enjoy physical intimacy and may engage in more foreplay, oral sex, and other forms of sexual expression rather than the focus of small sexual intercourse. Recent pregnancy continue until a woman has been without menstruation for at least 12 months. However, a couple should continue to use contraception. People continue to be at risk of contracting sexual transmitted infections as genital herpes, chlamydia, genital warts. 2014, 17% of the country knew HIV. Diagnosis were among people 50 or older, according to the Center Disease. This was an increase from 50% 0.4 in 2004. Practicing safe sex is important at any age, but unfortunately, adults over the age 40 had the lowest rate of condom use. This low rate condom use suggests the need to enhance education for all these individuals regarding STI risk and prevention. Hopefully, when partners understand how age affects sexual expression, they will less likely to misinterpret this change and lack of sexual interest and displeasure in the partner and more able to continue to have satisfied sexual relationships. Sexuality in the elderly. In early some final psychological stage for people 70 and over, the major conflict is with integrity and versus despair. Through living life, an elderly adult is able to reflect on their life with a sense of meaning, or do they feel their regrets and like cancel out is important indeed. This is also a time which based on physical health, well-being, where a person may feel genuine sense of engagement or purpose of the activities. According to Kane, older men and women are often viewed as genderless and as sexual, and there is a stereotype elderly individual no longer engage sexual activity. And what they do, they perceive to have committed some kind of offense. This age myth can become internalized. Older people have more difficult time accepting their sexuality. Physicians rarely inquire after elderly patients' sexual health, leading to further challenge sexual function, conversation, and STI prevention. In reality, many older couples find greater satisfaction in their sex life than they did when they were younger. They have few distractions, more time and privacy, no worries about getting pregnant. Great intimacy with lifelong partner. Result from the National Aging Project indicate that 75% of men and 45% of women aged 52 to being sexually active. Additionally, the National Survey Sexual Health Data indicate that 20 to 30% individuals remain sexually active well into their 80s. Indeed, no matter what person's sexual orientation, the single biggest factor whether someone maintains healthy sex life in their senior years is their or their partner's health well-being. Finally, some studies indicate that sexual satisfaction declines with age. Interestingly, what seems to be more conscious attribute to sexual and later life is the how sexual satisfaction gets defined shift. While early adults may find that frequent matter intense sexual activity, older adults determine that quality or engagement is what matters. In other words, quality, not quantity, is most important. Conclusion: sexuality influences all of us throughout our lifetime. The relationship with ourselves and others may shift. Sexually speaking, making the understanding of development all the more important is section we discuss and say experience from neural development to elderly experience with sexuality in a way that barely covers the tip of the iceberg. Indeed, much more can be written to include important social shifts in conversation around sexuality here in the US, moving from heteronormative research modality and slow work in progress and how culture, race, gender, and other identification matters in our development process and sexuality. Whether it's the influence of media technology on our sex life or how to manage the sexual experience or dementia patient in an appropriate way, we're still unrevealing vital areas of sexual functioning. To do this adequately, we need to consciously apply biosocial approach as well as stay curious about many domains of sexual development. And here are the reference or artisan. So I know the video got long, I'm hoping that it was useful for some of you. Hopefully, we will continue to study. Remember, this is the third topic of the human development. We will go to the fourth topic of the outline for the exam. Bye, guys. Many blessings.